I'm going to share with you one of the greatest, one of the hardest, one of the most painful lessons I've had to learn, and it is you reap what you sow. And I'm sharing it with you in the hopes that you never have to experience the pain that not knowing this lesson brings. So I went through the Bible and I was like, where does it say you reap what you sow? And I couldn't find it. I literally looked up reap what you sow. Couldn't find it. But this is where I learned my lesson. It was through Galatians 6. And it says, what you plant, you harvest. It says this. But then you keep reading because you have to have context to what you're understanding. And the context behind it is when you give into your sinful nature, you produce decay and death. You will produce decay and death. Read it. But what is the sinful nature? So we got to go back to Galatians 5. We can understand, what do you mean by sinful nature? And it says this. And let's focus on some common ones. Let's keep it short and simple. Let's just get the concept. Hate, jealousy, envy. When you act, when you speak, when you sow, in other words, out of your hate, out of your jealousy, out of your envy, you will harvest, you will reap decay and death. But there's always hope. Because if you keep reading, it says this. It says, but. Everything they said before the but, question a little bit. Because what you really got to pay attention to is what comes after. Because everything else doesn't really matter. It's saying, but there's more. But listen to this. This is what I need you to hear. And it's, but the Holy Spirit produces these fruits. And it says there is no law. It says there is no law against these things. There is a law against that sinful nature. When you sow that, you reap death and decay. When you're upset, when you're jealous, when you want to hate, when things aren't going your way, when you have to wait longer than expected, we're human. It's okay to be angry. It is not okay to speak in your anger and to act in your anger. It is a constant, intentional effort to just do better when you know better. And in doing that intentional effort of doing better and knowing better, I don't know about you, but I would rather sow that love, that peace, that patience, that kindness, that self-control. Because change, you can make better choices. But once you sow death, you reap death. But there's always hope. And the hope is grace. Grace means you are given what you do not deserve. That's what grace is. Grace is you did wrong, but you get a second chance. You did wrong, but you get a seventh chance. You did wrong, but I'm going to welcome you back. Such a good Father. That fruitful life that he talks about, that fruitful life everybody talks about, it's within you. It's that fruit that you're producing, that kindness, that gentleness. It's not easy to be gentle when you're upset. It's not easy to love when you're so angry and you've been wronged and done wrong. It's not easy to have any of these fruits of the Spirit. But once you start to choose it, is when God starts to produce even more than what you've ever expected in your life. And you, as a person, as a woman, as a man, you reap what you sow. So if you sow these things, you reap death and decay. But if you sow these things, there's no law against it. If you sow these things, it just produces life. A good life. And you deserve a good life. It was a painful lesson. But I learned my lesson.